Today's video is going to demonstrate 4 different activities in Albion Online. The first one, the one that is on screen right now, is fame farming. This is fame farming a static zone in a tier 4 blue zone, completely 100% safe. You can do it while faction flagged if you want a little bit of risk for a repair bill. And what this allows you to do is farm fame faster than any activity in the game, including black zones, including mists. Now, this is for solo guildless players. Obviously, if you're in a big guild, you can go farm world bosses and earn slightly more fame. And there's also people out there that will be like, well, you can earn more fame in the roads, bro. Except they're just cherry picking where they snipe a boss with a very specific nature staff build. But the purpose of today's video is to show you that if you want to make silver or if you want to fame farm, you need to do those two activities somewhat separated from each other. And yes, I did get down there because I pulled kind of weird and got stunned out of my heal. But regardless, it's still more efficient. Anyway, so a lot of people don't realize that you should be fame farming if you want to fame farm. Try not to do activities that do both, as in, you know, like solo random dungeons. People are like, well, I can fame farm and I can get loot and treasure. And I'm going to show you later on in this video where I do 30 minutes of solo dungeons. And remember, there's a video that I posted last week that shows how SBI recently nerfed drops even more for solo players. That includes corrupted dungeons, solo dungeons, and even soloing group dungeons. Even though it doesn't matter if you solo the group dungeons or not, group dungeons are nerfed. Everything loot-wise has been heavily nerfed except for Zerg versus Zerg and guild things. So if you can pause the video here if you want to see how much 30 minutes of farming a static earns you. I've made plenty of videos on this subject, and this is just, you know, another one here with some data. So, there we go. Now, the next clip here is farming for 30 minutes in a tier 4 blue zone by skinning. And this is going to show you how much silver you can earn. So, the whole point that I'm trying to get across is that if you want to earn silver, you need to gather as a solo player. Yes, there's little tricks you can do. You can, you know, you can craft things, you can grow crops if you're paying real money for premium, but you're better off just paying real money for gold through Sandbox Interactive Shop instead of trying to just raise crops. The price of premium is so high that growing crops or basic focus dumps on like refining focus dumps on basic crafting is simply not worth it. The only things that are worth it, they can even pay for premium at this point in the game's life cycle, is having maximized crafting, which you're going to need to invest over 111 million silver to maximize, say, something like being a chef. But the point is that the 30 minutes that I spend on the fame farm and the 30 minutes that I'm spending right now on skinning is going to earn me both more fame and more silver in that 1 hour than if I spent 1 hour soloing, you know, dungeons or soloing yellow zone mists, or even black zone mists, so on and so forth, because, like I said, every chest in this game has been heavily nerfed, and it's funny because when I put out that video, a lot of other people that, a lot of other content creators, rather, that signed, you know, up with Sandbox Interactive's little content creator program. They have the content creator icon, and a lot of them are anti-Swole Benji because they think that I'm some sort of villain, which I'm a cartoon villain, not a real-life villain. But Reddit, you know, Reddit poisons their mind, whatever, who cares, their loss. Also, I ganked a guy there, if you're curious. And I got 3 baby drops, a little bit rare, but I did not get any 4.3 or 4.2 drops, so it's whatever. So this is solo Yellow Zone Dungeons, nothing special here. I show off the loot towards the end. It's really bad. It is like 90% nerfed. Now, the patch notes, you read the patch notes, I read you the patch notes in the previous video. They mention how, you know, like, solo players are getting gypped from chest loot. And they were like, well, it's going to take about a week to adjust. And then there were people that, for some reason, thought that meant a week to adjust for our benefit. No, it meant 1 week to adjust to where the loot is complete garbage, and the Zerg versus Zerg and guild players get all the loot in their chests. And that's exactly what happened. You can see the history of solo dungeon loot just go down and down and down, year after year, patch after patch, and this is the lowest it's ever been. It is tremendously bad. It is so bad. Like, it was not worth doing before. It is actually against you now. Like, I'm speedrunning these with the fastest possible build in 8.4 gear with maximum spec, and it's still bad. It's like less than 100,000 silver per hour bad, and that is ridiculous. And if you think that running a higher tier solo dungeons is going to make up for that, or running mapped dungeons are going to make up for that, that is not the case. You are still going to have a very bad time. But if you're absolutely bored and you want something to do, there's literally... just go fame farm. If you're not, like, you know, if you're still new and you don't have your gear up to par yet, my suggestion, play for 3 more freaking days and get the damn gear so you can solo group static zones. But if you're absolutely new, of course you have to farm the open world, which I've made plenty of videos about, and that will still make you way more fame and silver than doing solo dungeons. It's ridiculous. So the last one here is Yellow Zone Mists, which before the nerfs was 1 million silver per hour, and it was quite fun because you get to bully and PvP a whole bunch of people, which that's what this last clip is mostly about. This is 30 minutes of taking every chest, going into every, you know, little PvP area, beating up the mobs, and clearing out every single player. And I've said this many times, I clear out the players so that when objectives actually spawn on the map, I don't have to fight them over it. And you can see later on that there's a chest that spawns, and it sits there on the map for a good 3 to 4 minutes before I even manage to ride up to it. And no one even touched the chest because they're all dead and kicked out of the zone. And that's why I PvP in the Yellow Zone. I hard flag, not just in the little circles that have you PvP, but everywhere. And it is actually a lot of fun. Now, this is the profit is garbage. It's been completely nerfed. It's been completely gutted. Also, Nightfall Abbey Yellow Zones, they're good fame. I'm going to tell you right now, Nightfall Abbey Yellow Zones, if you manage to find one and you have a speed clearing set, the fame is on par with statics for some stupid reason. I don't understand why. But you have a lot of competition. Well, I've been trying them out recently, but it's completely filled with dagger rats. It's like bloodletter rats, one-handed dagger, death givers, and all of my speed clearing PvE builds cannot chase these people down. I can wound them, like they could be even in like 5.1 or 5.2, and I'm in full 8.4. And what happens is I could wound them, but they always escape. So I would also have to, you know, play a build like double-bladed or also daggers to even be able to eliminate them from the area. And what they'll do is they'll just hover around outside of your screen if you're trying to fight a boss, and then they'll come in and sting you a little bit with their crappy weapons and then run away again. It's kind of funny, but... Okay, well, I ran out of time. I'm SwolVidget. Thanks for watching. As always, be a pro and stay swole. There's a video on the right side of your screen you should absolutely click. Also become a channel member. Click the join button down below for tips and stuff on how to make more silver, especially coming up in July because that is Fame Week. There's a Fame Week there. With that said, click the video on the right side of your screen, and if you don't, then you're going to get ganked constantly.